Arsenal's recent run of form. Sheffield United get their first game. There's lots to talk about on this episode of the Sideline Podcast. Hi, lads.
Hey,
Where are you?
So Mikel Arteta, ever since Boxing Day in the 3-1 victory over Chelsea, they've started to turn things around with 3 wins in the league and a win over Newcastle in the FA Cup. Liam, what has Mikel Arteta done to reverse this rut that they were in, I suppose, earlier in the season?
Well, I mean, I'm not really 100% sure you can say reverse just yet. I mean, they've won their last 3 games, granted, but if you look at their last 5, then, they lost to Burnley 1-0 and they drew to Southampton 1-1. Not only that, but they lost to Man City in the FA Cup 4-1. So it was either the FA Cup or the League Cup. I don't really remember. But to say that their form has been completely reversed, I wouldn't fully agree with that. I mean, you can take positives from it, though. I mean, they beat West Brom 4-0, and that was a big game, especially for Alexander Lacazette. I mean, he hasn't really been in goal-scoring form this season, neither has Aubameyang, but he got 2 goals, and he's brought his goal tally up to 7 this season, which isn't bad. I think the top scorer this season is 13. But no, I think Arteta is probably starting to relax into the team a bit more. He only came in sometime last year, and to be fair, he has had a bit of experience. He played with Arsenal for his career. He was assistant manager under Pep Guardiola, and he came into the team. They were shambles of a team at the time. Came into the team, won the FA Cup and the Community Shield with them, and by winning the FA Cup, he earned them European football in the Europa League. But they did not finish very high in the table last season. They finished only 8th. And from what I remember, their points were only in the 40s or 50s. And you look this season, and the amount of points that has been possible to win, 51, is already, I think, more than the amount that they won last season. So they've only gotten, I think, 23 points this season. And I mean, to say that they've had a turnaround in the last couple of the games, yeah, I mean, they've won some. But, at the start of the season, I think they won 2 games in a row and drew. So, and you have to look at the opposition as well. I mean, fair enough, they beat Chelsea 3-1, but beating that Chelsea team is not really something that I would call a bragging right, because that Chelsea team is a shambles at the moment. I mean, they spent $250,000 over the transfer window, and they're sitting...
$250 million.
Sorry, $250 million. Sorry. And they're sitting in, I think, 8th place with 26 points. They're 10 points off the top spot.
8th points, or even 9th, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
you might be right. Maybe after their game in hand, I'm not sure.
It's 8th or 9th anyway, and that's pretty unacceptable. So, for Arsenal, fair, they've been in a bit of, I guess, trouble since, I think, around 2015, 2016. They've gone downhill, and of course, there's the controversy with Mesut Ozil as to why he's not getting played. I mean, he's essentially getting paid £350 a week to sit in his couch and...
Yeah, he is. And Fionn, a lot of the old, I suppose, problems that we've seen time and time again with Arsenal are starting to resurface. Obviously, offering Cedric a contract. I mean, he's not really going to do much to the club. And you see, the problem with Arsenal is that they seem to be buying their way, I suppose, putting plasters on all the separate problems at Arsenal at the moment. For example, you think of Nicolas Pepe, it's a £70-odd million transfer, and you're thinking, like, as an Arsenal fan, you're thinking, oh great, this is a new big signing for the club, and in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, oh yeah, we still need a new position there, we need a new position here, and this is all still tactically wrong, as expressed on Arsenal Fan TV. But they seem to have turned it around with the introductions of Fikayo Saka and Smith Rowe, and they seem to be kind of pulling it back now.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do have money problems, considering they had to fire Gunnar Soros because they couldn't afford to even pay his wage. So they obviously have money problems, and I don't get why they're still keeping Ozil when he's obviously costing them so much a week. He's not being played. He doesn't want to be at the club. You just sell him to a Turkish league club, and then that's that sorted. That's got a big part of the payroll cut off. And like you said,
do you think? Sorry, do you think that obviously, with Arsenal fans, they're thinking with Ozil, obviously Aubameyang signed his new contract this season, and he's not been his usual form, and you're thinking that maybe the club doesn't want to let him go because they're fearful that something might happen like Alexis Sanchez. When you actually think about it, was one of the best financial moves that the club has ever made. Have they made the same mistake again with throwing too much wages at an aging star who might be past their best and might not have the interest of the club at heart, Fionn?
Yeah, I think Aubameyang is still overall a great signing for Arsenal, and they want to extend his contract. But there's a reality where there's a certain point of you can't just give him what he wants. You can't just, you can't just get the money from nowhere. And it's obviously costing them so much. And obviously, I think he'll come back into form soon and he will be playing well again. It's obviously the overall Arsenal team that had been performing bad. And I think he'll come back next year, maybe the year after. He'll be great, and he'll come back. He'll be good. But you can't just be paying players too much when you can't even afford it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the youth, Liam, they've been a revelation, and they've been central to a lot of the key things. Obviously, I mentioned Fikayo Saka. Smith Rowe is starting to come. You got Maitland-Niles making a lot of appearances off the bench, and Arteta, he's showing a willingness to let these players start ahead of, players like Willian. Willian's been soaking up wages at the club. Do you think that this is a wise decision by Arteta?
Yeah, 100%. Because I'm just being honest, I think Willian was a dreadful signing, and I know he was a free agent, but he was not worth it, especially for the wages they're paying for him. You already have Aubameyang, whom they gave a new contract to, which in turn they're paying more money for. They're paying Ozil 350 grand a week. Their marquee signing last season, Pepe, has been nothing short of a flop, really. And I guess you can see the intent in trying to sign Willian, an experienced Premier League winner who won Premier League trophies, FA Cups, Europa Leagues. He might have even won the Champions League with Chelsea in 2012. I don't remember, but kind of all that points towards you saying, okay, well, we should sign him. He's a free agent and he's willing to come here. But then you look at his age and you go, and his wages, and the fact that they didn't, I guess, point fingers at that. The fact that he's in his 30s and he's on a big wage. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's quite high, especially with his age. And the fact that they didn't point fingers at that and go, maybe that's a red flag. He's been atrocious this season, Willian. He got 2 assists in their first match, but that was against Fulham. And Fulham
sorry, go on.
Fulham are currently sitting, I think, 18th in the Premier League, and the fact that his only goal contributions this season have come against a bottom tier side who sit that far down, that it isn't good enough at all. So,
Fionn, really quickly, more problems for Steve Bruce and for Newcastle as they bulldoze straight into, I think, their 6th or 7th successive loss. Ryan Fraser getting sent off just as a stroke at halftime, and Billy Sharp in the 73rd minute striking home a penalty for Sheffield United. I apologise that we didn't get enough really done on that, but thank you, lads.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zainab.